Road there, and thank you for giving us this opportunity to discuss this. And earlier, just a few weeks ago, actually, the ATU and Students' Union delivered an AV room presentation here, and they were looking. It was based on an extensive. It was a student-based survey, and it was carried out amongst local ATU students and property owners on the availability of student accommodation. And I suppose what the results, their findings was that instead of things getting better, they have deteriorated. And I think, but it was looking at, and I'm sure you're aware of this, there has been difficulties within accommodation that was supposed to be purpose-built for student accommodation in Sligo, and that ended up not being. So I suppose, this has been frustrated by the regulations around the borrowing for the TUs, and I know you've spoken about this in your opening statement. And just for an example like that, we were talking about a partnership approach. Sligo County Council and the ATU have a really good working partnership. They have an agreed 16-acre sites, and the ownership of Sligo County Council has been identified as being a really good site for where they can build a purpose-built student accommodation to facilitate the ATU. Agreement has been reached with the ATU that could be purchased. But unfortunately, the ATU have enough money to buy the site, but they don't have enough money. They don't have the resources really to fund the construction. And I suppose this is where the borrowing framework comes up. That I think there isn't enough detail really. We feel within the borrowing framework to see how the TUs are able to actually borrow. And I suppose we're looking at the prioritisation of certain colleges and that comes from central government as a priority, and then some of the TUs are feel like they're stuck. We'll say like Sligo ATU, for example, feels like it's stuck, and it's a really growing university. It's and because we have this really good relationship if you're looking at a partnership approach between Sligo County Council and the ATU in Sligo. So I suppose ATU, because it hasn't been identified as one of the priority projects, we feel like we're in limbo a bit. We're stuck. There's 2,700 staff and 30,000 students, and it's growing all the time because Sligo is an area of growth, and it's an area within the Northwest has been recognised as an area of significant growth. And there is new courses, I suppose, have come in. There's a new 5-year Masters of Pharmacy, which is a huge big deal for a TU. That was always, I suppose, a big high point careers that were in traditional universities. So I think we need to back the TUs a bit more, and we need to get clarity around the borrowing framework, and that the prioritisation shouldn't be just from central government, that it should be, especially when we have needs identified locally, that they're able to, that they have the ability to buy the site, but they don't have the ability to borrow to build on it. And just on that, just for my last 10 seconds, could I talk about, Minister, that having joint up cooperation with the Department of Transport about delivering an early morning commuter train from Longford, everything's there for it, it just needs the green light. And that would alleviate a huge amount of the student accommodation problem in Sligo. There's a train ready to come in to Sligo for 8:15, and that would make a huge difference to alleviate the problem at the moment.
Is playing a part as well. I think it's very important. I think that this is something where the state must use all levers at our disposal. So state lands, state assets, local authorities, agencies, the colleges themselves. I think we all need to work together to make that happen. And Senator Cosgrove, you spoke about the strategy as it pertains particularly to Sligo. What I'd say to you on that is, so in terms of ATU, the first phase of the strategy talks about Dublin, Cork and Galway. So obviously ATU Galway can participate in that. However, it doesn't stop there. The first phase is really where we have an expression of interest, and we go out to colleges in those 3 cities and say, what have you got ready to go? Are you interested in taking this? Talk to us about your proposals. I've said clearly, and I said it to President Orla Flynn when I met her last week, if there are proposals outside of those 3 cities and they're ready to go, come in straight in the door with them. I'm not going to stand in ceremony and wait for 6 months or 9 months or 12 months to get to another phase. If there are projects around the country, in any part of the country, that are ready to go, let's go and take them now, and let's get them moving. And I've said that, and feel free if you wish to speak to your own people in the different colleges and areas you represent, because I'm not going to wait around for anything. Let's get this let's get this moving as quickly as we possibly can. And also, I totally agree with your remarks about the pharmacy school coming into ATU. I launched the vet school in Letterkenny, ATU, just recently as well, and I completely agree. It's so important and transformative to have professional qualifications delivered across the TUs in regional areas where previously they were only the preserve of the big cities. Dublin was the only place in UCD, so any college in the country you could do veterinary. But now you can do 3 places, SCTU, ATU, as well as UCD.